Did you know that many people believe that our struggles often stem from a spiritual battle rather than just conflicts with others? In fact, ancient texts suggest that unseen forces influence our thoughts and actions every day. When we think of battles, we usually think of conflicts with people. But what if I told you that the enemy you're fighting might not be a person at all, but rather an unseen force manipulating the situation? You might be thinking, wait, what are you talking about? My struggles are definitely with my boss, or my spouse, or my neighbor. But what if I told you that there are clear signs that suggest your struggles might be rooted in something much deeper? In this video, we're going to explore 9 shocking signs that your real enemy might not be people, but Satan in disguise. These signs will help you identify whether you're fighting a spiritual battle and how to confront the real enemy head-on. So, let's dive in and explore these signs together. Over the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the subtle ways that Satan operates in our lives and how to recognize when you're fighting a spiritual battle rather than just a personal one. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools and the knowledge to confront the real enemy and take back control of your life. So, are you ready to learn the 9 signs that will change everything? Feelings of constant frustration and anger can be overwhelming, to say the least. You might feel like you're at your wit's end and that everything is just going wrong in your life. But have you ever stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, your feelings of frustration and anger are not just about the people or situations around you? Maybe there's something more going on, something that's driving you to feel this way. When we're constantly frustrated and angry, it can affect every area of our lives. We become short-tempered, irritable, and we start to snap at the people around us. We feel like we're walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next explosion is going to happen. But what if I told you that this feeling of constant frustration and anger might not be about you or the people around you, but about the spiritual influences that are at work in your life? Think about it. When we're constantly frustrated and angry, we're not thinking clearly. We're not able to make rational decisions, and we start to react rather than respond. This is exactly what Satan wants. He wants us to be so caught up in our emotions that we can't think straight, and we start to make decisions that aren't in line with God's plan for our lives. So, the next time you're feeling frustrated and angry, take a step back and ask yourself, is this really about the person or situation in front of me? Or is there something deeper going on? Sometimes, we get stuck in patterns of conflict and struggle, and we can't seem to move forward. We try to resolve the issue, but it just keeps coming back, like a bad habit. We think it's the other person who's the problem. But what if I told you that the problem might be deeper than that? When we're stuck in patterns of conflict, it can be exhausting. We feel like we're running on a hamster wheel, getting nowhere fast. But what if I told you that these patterns of conflict might be a sign of a deeper spiritual battle? Think about it. When we're constantly struggling with the same issues over and over again, it's like we're trapped in a never-ending cycle of pain and suffering. This is exactly what Satan wants. He wants us to feel like we're stuck, like we can't move forward, like we're never going to be free. But here's the thing. We don't have to stay stuck. We can break free from these patterns of conflict, and we can start to live the life that God intended for us to live. When we feel isolated or lonely, it can be one of the most painful feelings in the world. We feel like we're all alone, like nobody understands us, like we're the only ones who are struggling. But what if I told you that this feeling of isolation might not be about you or your circumstances, but about the spiritual forces that are at work in your life? When we're isolated, we're vulnerable. We're like sitting ducks, just waiting to be attacked by the enemy. And that's exactly what Satan wants. He wants us to feel disconnected from God, disconnected from others, and disconnected from ourselves. But here's the thing. We don't have to stay isolated. We can reach out for help. We can gather around us people who care. And we can start to build a community that will support us in our struggles. In a small village, a cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in exchange for its freedom. Whiskers wished for endless fish, a cozy bed, and a bell that rang softly. The fish granted all 3 wishes and swam away, leaving Whiskers content and purring in the sun. Have you ever had those moments where you're just flooded with doubts and confusion? You're not sure what to do. You're not sure what's right, and you're not sure what's wrong. It's like you're walking through a thick fog, and you can't see a thing. But what if I told you that these feelings of doubt and confusion might not be about you or your circumstances, but about the spiritual forces that are at work in your life? When we're flooded with doubts and confusion, it's like we're under attack. Satan is trying to disrupt our faith. He's trying to disrupt our clarity, and he's trying to disrupt our sense of direction. He wants us to feel lost and alone, like we're wandering in the wilderness with no map to guide us. But here's the thing, we don't have to stay lost. We can take a step back, we can take a deep breath, and we can ask God to guide us. We can seek out wisdom, we can seek out counsel, and we can start to move forward with clarity and direction. Do you ever feel inexplicably fearful or anxious? You're not sure why you're feeling this way, but you just can't shake it off. It's like you're living on edge, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But what if I told you that these feelings of fear and anxiety might not be about you or your circumstances, but about the spiritual forces that are at work in your life? When we're fearful and anxious, we're not thinking clearly. We're not able to make rational decisions, and we start to react rather than respond. This is exactly what Satan wants. He wants us to be so caught up in our emotions that we can't think straight, and we start to make decisions that aren't in line with God's plan for our lives. So, the next time you're feeling fearful or anxious, take a step back and ask yourself, is this really about the situation in front of me? Or is there something deeper going on? Have you ever felt physically exhausted or burned out, like you just can't keep going anymore? You're not sure why you're feeling this way, but you just can't muster up the energy to do anything. But what if I told you that this feeling of exhaustion might not be about your physical health, but about the spiritual forces that are at work in your life? When we're physically exhausted, we're vulnerable. We're like sitting ducks, just waiting to be attacked by the enemy. And that's exactly what Satan wants. He wants us to be so drained of energy that we can't fight back, we can't resist, and we can't overcome. But here's the thing, we don't have to stay exhausted. We can take care of our physical bodies. We can rest, we can recharge, and we can start to build up our strength again. Do you ever have thoughts that just seem to come out of nowhere? Thoughts that are negative, destructive, and hurtful. Thoughts that make you feel like you're not good enough, like you're not worthy, like you're not loved. But what if I told you that these thoughts might not be your own, but rather the whispers of the enemy in your ear? When we're bombarded with negative thoughts, it's like we're under attack. Satan is trying to disrupt our self-image. He's trying to disrupt our confidence, and he's trying to disrupt our sense of self-worth. He wants us to feel like we're not enough, like we're not worthy, and like we're not loved. But here's the thing, we don't have to believe these thoughts. We can take a step back, we can take a deep breath, and we can ask God to help us discern what's true and what's not. We can start to focus on the positive, we can start to focus on the good, and we can start to build up our self-esteem again. Have you ever noticed that people around you are acting strangely? They're saying things, doing things, and behaving in ways that are just not like them. But what if I told you that this strange behavior might not be about them, but about the spiritual forces that are at work in their lives? When people around us are acting strangely, it can be confusing and unsettling. We're not sure what's going on. We're not sure why they're behaving this way, and we're not sure how to respond. But what if I told you that this strange behavior might be a sign of spiritual manipulation? Think about it. When people are acting strangely, it's like they're not themselves anymore. They're like puppets on a string, being controlled by an invisible force. And that's exactly what Satan wants. He wants to use others as instruments to create chaos in your life, to distract you from your true purpose and weaken your resolve. When people around you start behaving out of character, it's not just a coincidence. It's part of the spiritual warfare at play. Recognizing this allows you to see the bigger picture and reminds you that the real battle isn't against flesh and blood, but against the unseen forces of evil. Now that we've uncovered these 9 signs, you can start to see the spiritual battles at work in your life. The next step is taking action. Confront these forces with the power of prayer, discernment, and faith. Remember, your struggles are not just about the people around you. They're a sign that something deeper is at play. Don't let the enemy win. It's time to take back control of your life. Recognizing these signs of spiritual warfare can empower you to confront the true source of your struggles. Through prayer, reflection, and God's strength, you can break free from the tactics of the enemy and find peace, clarity, and victory. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these signs in your own life? How have you recognized spiritual warfare at play? Share your experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our next video on how to strengthen your spiritual defenses. Let's keep growing together in faith. God bless.
I appreciate you taking the time to watch and be here. If this video resonated with you or touched your heart, please consider supporting the channel by buying me a coffee. Simply scan the QR code or click the link in the description below. Your generosity keeps this mission alive. See you soon. God bless. If you're looking to overcome depression and anxiety by strengthening your spirituality, I invite you to check out my ebook, Soulful Transformations, Bridging Faith and Mind for Lasting Wellness, available on Kindle. This book combines cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, with biblical wisdom to help you manage stress, tackle anxiety, and find lasting peace through faith. It's not just about mental health. It's about deepening your relationship with God and transforming your life in ways that inspire others. Check the description below for the link and take the first step toward a life of spiritual and emotional wellness.